nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal.
M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems are go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine chill. That's getting the MVAC engine ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
M1D throttle down.
We heard we're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have Miko.
Nico.
Falcon stage separation confirmed. Copy 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
All right, we have stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second
Stage
stage,
2 propulsion is nominal.
which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cut off, at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into today's flight. So a little over 5 minutes to go still on this second stage. You heard the call out to Alpha, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard almost to Canada. Things looking good though, getting good call outs, nominal propulsion on that second stage. Bob and Doug continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon Spacex nominal trajectory.
Acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
Spacex Dragon nominal trajectory.
All right, here in nominal trajectories, the Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal over Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
A little over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Bob and Doug flying at more than 5,600 miles
Dragon
per hour.
Spacex nominal trajectory.
Already almost 200 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Nominal trajectory continuing. And while they continue uphill, looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, today. And we're just about a couple minutes away from the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the landing burn, which is just a single engine.
Dragon Spacex, nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Nominal.
Starting chill for entry burn.
there's that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon, still on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen. Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be a little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
Spacex,
chance.
nominal trajectory.
Dragon copies, nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug as they are on a nominal trajectory. Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage, starting that entry burn on your right screen. We should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn started.
And there is that entry burn beginning. This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
While that entry burn continues, we're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. That'll be the second engine cutoff. We'll be looking for that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
And actually just within a few seconds of each other. It's such a cool view on your left screen, seeing Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now you can see the displays that they are seeing right now
Terminal
themselves.
guidance.
And back throttle step.
We are coming up 25 seconds or so away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about 1.8.
Copy Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1 landing
cutoff
started.
confirmation.
And back throttle step. And back shutdown. Stage 1 landing land.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You.
Dragon Spacex, nominal orbital insertion.
Launch escape confirmation
system is
nominal
Dragon
orbital
copies,
insertion.
nominal
Stage 1
orbital
landing
insertion.
deploy.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship.
I just want to explain something that you're hearing. You hear a lot about, Of Course I Still Love You. This is the drone ship that is going to be responsible for retrieving the first stage that will jettison into the Atlantic. These are reusable. Remember, these boosters or stages are reusable. 2 different drone ships will be picking them up. So when you hear that, it's not a country love song. It's really a way and a means by which they reuse these devices when they come back down to Earth before they just fall into the ocean and start from scratch. Elon Musk and Spacex have found ways to keep reusing them, dramatically cutting the cost of space travel, as well as the cost of this travel. Let's go back.
Good orbital insertion, so that means Falcon 9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
Kennedy to FRC on recovery 1.
And it's right at about 12 minutes when Dragon will separate. Looks like we saw a zero-G indicator floating around there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about what exactly that is that they brought up with them.
And before separation, before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage, they do make sure to make, they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and is in good condition before we separate.
That's right, the upper stage does small attitude maneuver using some cold gas thrusters built into the rocket body itself.
Exactly, so we do expect that separation to occur in about a minute from now, but they do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to separate. Such cool views. I cannot get over this view that we are seeing right now. Bob and Doug on the right screen, inside of Crew Dragon, out in space.
Yeah, already 200 kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters. 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per hour. So again, we're just standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its flight to the International Space Station. Standing by for separation.
Expected loss of signal, walls.
It sounds like we had an expected LOS, loss of signal, with one of the ground stations. Waiting for confirmation now of that.
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you of Dragon separating.
Separation confirmed.
And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space
There is a
Station.
great breath of relief right now. Crew Dragon is now in space. It is now on its own. And by the way, it's not Dragon. It's going north of 16,000 miles an hour. And that final separation has it now separated, and it will be on its nearly 19-hour journey to hook up with the International Space Station itself, traveling at about 17,000 miles an hour. To mathematically get that hookup right, you have to be down to 1/10,000th of a decimal in both your speed and timing and visuals. It is so overwhelmingly complicated, it makes me beg for having done better or trying to do better in calculus, but that doesn't even matter here. Tom Jones, the astronaut with us right now. Tom, there was a collective sigh of relief with that final separation. How do you feel?
I'm just amazed. I think this is a fabulous development for the United States space program, and we've got 2 people in orbit on their way to the space station. The system worked perfectly. You know, I had my heart pounding and, you know, tears in my eyes as this launch took place. So this is really a momentous event. I'm so happy for Bob and Doug, and I'm really technically amazed that this system has pulled this off so flawlessly, and it's a great sign of things to come.
You know, Tom, I'm glad the camera wasn't on me through that item, my friend. You know, the one thing that's remarkable I can remember as a kid, and it was only filmed in those days, and it was provided well after the fact. Who can forget when John Glenn was launched into space, and it was, you know, this grainy film footage. He swore that he was seeing sparks and what looked like fireflies at the time. You could barely make out the image. But now this was so crystal clear, it looked like 8K, I don't know what it was. But between the astronauts in the capsule and then the views of the stages being jettisoned, something we would never see in the past. Some of the later shuttle missions, probably your own, got to show some of that, but not nearly as crisply or as sweepingly as this.
It's very important to share this experience as widely as we can and as intimately and as split second as we can. So we want to appreciate what the astronauts are going through during this harrowing journey to orbit. You know, they're subjected to almost 4 Gs, a lot of vibration from the rocket, and it looked pretty calm on the screen there, but I know the adrenaline was flowing through their veins. They were just as excited as we are down here. So to share that experience and to project yourself into the Crew Dragon on the way to the space station, I think is a way to get people excited about experiencing this on other occasions, maybe going to the Cape personally or taking a ride in 10, 20 years as a tourist or being an astronaut yourself one day. It's a great way to share this dynamic experience.
You know, it's one thing to go through the pressure, I'm talking about pressure, 4G on the body, but then to know, you know, billions of people who are watching you on live TV as you do so. Are you cognizant of that when you're in that position? It's one thing to say, oh, I'm fine. Wait a minute, the whole world's watching.
Yeah, well, we used to have a joke in the astronaut office, which was, you know, it's great that they can watch me on TV. Uh-oh, they can watch me on TV. So you can get help, but you can also get embarrassed.
Well, there was nothing embarrassing about you, young man. I want to bring Doug Wheelock into this also, like Tom, no stranger to this sort of thing. This you know, 19-hour journey to get to the International Space Station. You know a thing or two about that. Timing is going to be everything. It's a race at a very incredible speed. Everything's got to be precise. Could you play out these next 19 hours?
Absolutely. It's actually great to hear from Tom Jones as well as Charlie Duke, both of them my heroes coming on to into the astronaut program. So hello to them. Yeah. So now we begin the real. It's sort of like a finely choreographed dance between the SpaceX Dragon and the International Space Station. They each have each other's state vector, and now we're gonna just try to catch up to it. And traveling at 5 miles per second around the Earth, and we're gonna dock just like with a kiss of the 2 spaceships in space, and it's just amazing. And so there's a series of burns, correction burns, to raise our orbit, to circularize our orbit, and over the next 19 hours, we're going to be doing phasing burns, correction burns to try to match precisely up with the International Space Station.
Now, this will also be the same capsule that will return. We just don't know how and when that will be and which one of the astronauts or cosmonauts presently up at the International Space Station will come back. But they will be coming back in this, right?
That's correct. That's correct. In fact, you know, a successful mission for us is to have Bob and Doug home safely, and we'd like to get a 30-day mission. We would, if all things are going well, we'll stay till 30 days, and then at that point, if everything's still going well, we hope to extend it out even as long as 120 days.
Wow, that's a long time. For the astronauts, and when you get that relief of once you're in space, once you're in, you know, out of the atmosphere, you're no longer dealing with the multiple G's, the 4G thing. I mean, physically, you've got to feel a lot better, right? I mean, because that's a pressure cooker.
You do feel a lot better, and when you ask, you know, and millions of people are watching us on TV, I'm sure that did not go through their mind until that second stage engine cut off, and they could really kind of breathe a sigh of relief and say, like, wow, that was amazing, because they were completely focused. I remember on my ascent on both the space shuttle and the Soyuz, I was just completely focused, and you almost forget to smell the roses along the way, you know. So, but now they're gonna have an experience physiologically. It really changes you, every part of your being. Of course, your physical, the physical things that go on that change in your physiology, in your mental state, your emotional state, and your kind of your spiritual kind of purpose-driven state. You know, it sort of rounds out all those parts of the human existence, and so it really, space changes you, not only physiologically but in other ways as well, and it helps you really appreciate this beautiful blue planet that we live on, for sure.
No, that's for sure. We were showing some images of the astronauts. I didn't want you to think that aliens had taken over the ship. That was footage from earlier today. Those gentlemen and women now wearing the black suits that look almost like ninjas. They help prepare the astronauts and get them set up in the capsule. I didn't want you to think that aliens had somehow taken over the capsule here, but they are well on their way right now. And astronaut Tom Jones, on this experience that Doug was alluding to here, you got to be relieved when at least you're at this stage, because at least the initial hard part is over. What are some of the bumps now? I don't want to, you know, be a crate hanger here, but what are some of the things they have to prepare for ahead of what's going to be a very precise, has to be exact hookup with the International Space Station?
Right. You know, you experience the launch almost as an observer. You're almost detached from your body as you watch yourself go through the acceleration, the vibrations, and you're monitoring the autopilot. So you're part of a